It's time to relax, grab a drink, pull up a chair by the hearth, and have a seat in the Skald Circle to listen to the tale of Waoniska, the making of a great warrior, from Potawatomi Folklore as told by Casimir. Before we begin our story, we wanted to remind you that we release new tales for free every week. Our shorter tales release on Wednesdays, and our longer chapter stories release on every other Saturday. Find out where you can hear them on our website at thescaldcircle.com. And be certain to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. That way, you'll never miss out on one of our enchanting tales from around the world. And this is the tale of Waoniska, the making of a great warrior. There was once a Potawatomi man who had a large family. One of his sons, Waoniska, was old enough to fast, but had not done so yet. He said to the boy, "Why don't you fast?" But Waoniska refused to fast and wandered off to be with the boys. If they stayed out after it got dark, he would stay in the woods instead of going home because he was afraid that his father would insist that he fast. Rather than face his father, he drifted away and no longer lived at home. Wherever it went, it always seemed that people talked about fasting, and whenever this happened, Waoniska would just leave and go to the next place. He traveled to a distant village and stayed there overnight, and as soon as his host got up, the man insisted his children fast. It was that way everywhere he went, and among every tribe he visited. He wandered from place to place, and it was always the same. With so much wandering, he got lost, and eventually grew from boy into a young man. After much wandering and thinking, he went back to his own tribe. There all the young boys fasted, and no one would associate with him because of his reputation as not having fasted. No one liked him or would have anything to do with him. Since no one would ask him to go hunting, and he had no one to help him take care of himself, he dressed in rags and old clothes he found and lived off a small amount of corn he got from someone's field. He felt so sad and alone that he decided to go to his parents and try to live the life that they had taught him. The next morning he started his fast and made his way back to his parents' village. When he got near their house, dogs began to bark, and one of his little brothers came out and then ran to tell his parents that Waoniska had returned. As Waoniska went in, his father said, "I can see by the charcoal on your face you are fasting. Has the spirit told you to fast?" Waoniska said nothing. In the morning he continued his fast. He blackened his face and ate nothing. Every morning after that he fasted, and once he felt he was ready, he took his father's bow and arrow and started off hunting, continuing his fast. At night when he came home, he brought a willow stick as tall as he was and hung it up in the wigwam. His father asked what he was going to do with the stick, but Waoniska did not answer. The next morning he charred the stick in the fire and set it aside. He picked up his father's bow and arrow again, and his father said, "Don't take those." But his mother said, "Leave him alone. He is doing the right thing now." And she made him a pair of moccasins to wear hunting. Waoniska's mother was right. From then on, he fasted regularly and hunted and brought home meat for the family. Sometime later, an unsuccessful war party returned to the village. They asked Waoniska to go back with them and lead them because they thought he had special powers. His father told him he was not ready to lead a war party, but Waoniska was prepared to go. The war party started, and Waoniska carried only his blanket. He did not take his bow and arrows or even a knife. As they went along, they killed some buffaloes, and Waoniska took one of the buffalo bladders and blew it up and dried it and painted it red. Then he put it on his head. His friends thought it a little odd and asked him where his weapons were. Waoniska said nothing, but got a piece of wood and carved himself a war club out of it. He practiced throwing it, and his friends also thought this was a little strange. Waoniska told them to stop asking questions, and the older men in the war party agreed, saying that some powerful spirit must be guiding him. After a while, they came to a large enemy encampment. They saw that they were easily outnumbered, and many felt they should go back without fighting. Their leader wanted to turn back, but Waoniska said, "I am not supposed to be the leader, but I will lead you." He painted his buffalo bladder and his war club red. He said, "I have fasted many years, and have been given great power by a spirit. Obey me and stay here, and I will go through the enemy camp and make these people senseless. Then you can all follow me in." They all agreed to this plan. The next morning, Waoniska threw his clothes away and painted himself red. He also told all the other members of the war party to do the same. As they drew close to the enemy camp, Waoniska called on the spirits who had come to him when he was fasting and asked for their help. He told the warriors to walk in a straight line and look only at him. He also told them to make whatever noises he made. As they began, Waoniska made a huge noise that sounded something like yaw, yaw. All the other warriors did the same. The people in the camp were startled and came out to see what it was. As they saw Waoniska, they dropped to the ground and couldn't move. Waoniska's small war party defeated them all. After that, Waoniska became an important leader of his people. And that is the tale of Waoniska, the making of a great warrior, from Potawatomi Folklore. Thank you for listening to our story. If you enjoyed it, we recommend taking a look at our Patreon page, as noted in the description below. You can earn great rewards while also supporting us, to keep these stories alive for generations to come. Also, remember to subscribe to us on your podcast app, and leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed this story. A special thank you to Kat for their support this month. Without your contribution, we wouldn't be able to continue these stories, and we truly appreciate it. Visit theskullcircle.com to stay up to date with all of our current events, news, and much more. Not only that, but you can also visit our story archive of every tale we have ever told. It's sorted by origin and region for the convenience of your listening pleasure. Thank you for listening to our story.